just going to it that way. So yeah, so I think Monday went semi okay, a lot of errors, but I wouldn't benchmark a gong show on that. Gong shows could be a lot more fucking menacing. And without the crowd yelling at you, like the first gong show I ever did was Comedy Store, and within 7 seconds, the guy after me, as is from from New Zealand, someone just shouted, get this prick off the stage, and like hurls and abuse. But it's no caliber of it. But from what I saw Monday night, I really liked your stuff. Like so, the crowd are assholes. Fuck the crowds. As long as the other comics like you. So I'll do my introduction. Hello, welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I have with me Ben Coleman from Birmingham. Are you a Brummie or do you just live there?
Yeah, no, Brummy, born and bred here.
All the bread, how's it going, brother? So I'll jump into how long have you been doing comedy for?
About 2.5 years now. It's Halloween because we finished the course at Halloween, so I always remember it's Halloween when we started.
Okay, so did you start off from doing a comedy course?
Yeah, so I did James Cook's course, which was
Okay,
really good.
okay. And so what made you decide to sort of get into it?
It was kind of a bit of a journey because I'd always written songs and written like comedy songs, not intentionally to be funny, but that was just my style. And I did a few open mic nights, just music open mic nights that went all right. And I thought it'd be nice to try it at a comedy club, but I need some jokes in between.
Yes.
So at the time, I was doing an improv comedy course, and someone mentioned on there about James's course. So I thought, oh, I'll try that. So I did it, and he said, like, you can do anything is stand up, including music. So I did sort of a mix of music and jokes.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And I
yeah,
found enjoyed the jokes part of it just as much as the music. So
it is definitely a different talent altogether. And do you sort of find you're more in your element when you're doing the songs or the bits in between?
um I think the bits in between the jokes are fun because like the song I'm just sort of I've got to do the song if it's like 2 minutes I've got to do the 2 minutes, whereas if I'm talking and something happens or I think of something else I can throw it in there and change it around, so that's fun. But I do like doing the music.
Yeah, because I guess if you do the music, can't really do crowd work during a song.
No, well, I can get people to join in, which I've done a few times. That's always good.
Okay, and what sort of songs do we do?
Well, it's just kind of like silly comedy songs. So there's one called Wake the Pilot where it's starts off like I'm falling, you are falling, we are falling because the plane is falling. Yeah, wake the pilot. And then the next verse is I am screaming, you are screaming. So before I play that, I usually get the audience say like, this is the part where you got to join in. Are you ready to join in? And they say yes. They say great. So if you all just take your clothes off, and then what we'll do, and that usually gets laughs. So and then like I explain about the screaming, and we do that. Um, and yeah, it's the same with jokes. It's just anything that you find funny that you put into song.
Find doing comedy, musical comedy, you you're positioned in a better place on a bill.
Uh, yeah, I've not really noticed it much. I usually end up like at the end of a section.
Yeah.
Um, I think,
Because if you went first, that could be there's no
yeah,
build up yet. Like they always say, you always finish a set. No, finish. I mean, like part of the night with a musical comedian.
yeah, I think that's the thing because the energy, it's a different kind of energy that goes up, and then it'll be hard to follow that.
Okay.
So,
And why did you decide to do musical comedy? What was sort of the decision behind that? Are there anyone who sort of like has influenced you, or like you look up to who does it?
yeah, well, like the first comedian I ever saw was Joe Pasquale, and
Yeah.
he does
Cool.
like jokes, songs, props, art, magic, like he does everything. So to me, that was like the benchmark of what comedy was. And then when I got older and started watching modern stand-up, I was like, why are they just standing there telling jokes? Like, why aren't they singing and dancing and stuff? So I was always going to do, and I like a lot of the old acts like Morecambe and Wise and Tommy Cooper, Ken Dodd, and they were all like variety acts who did multiple things. So I just think it's like more fun and keeps the audience a bit more stimulated and it's more fun for me because I think I get bored standing there talking for 10 minutes.
It can do. So would you say you write your comedy and your songs for you, and then hopefully the crowd reciprocates and likes it, or do you write it, purposely for the crowd? Like, would you do a joke that you think's a bit shit, but it's low hanging fruit, it's easy to do?
Yeah, there are a few that I've done like that. There's some songs where they or jokes where they don't necessarily go down great, but I like it, so I keep it in the hope that one day it'll get a laugh.
And how many times? Because I presume a lot more work goes into doing a musical song, a comedic musical bit, than it does just doing a joke.
Yeah, because I think the thing is with musical comedy is it's got to be funny all the way through. Because if like the core, you get to the chorus and that's the punchline, and then it just carries on and it's not funny. So that's one thing James Cook said to me. He's like, make sure the song's just as long as it needs to be and don't drag it out. So
Okay. So you're not gonna do like Don McLean, American Pie, all 8 minutes worth. You'll bang out a couple of verses of it, and then
yeah, exactly.
well, I've had a couple of musical comedians on here. I've had Alex Petrovich, I've had Ashley Freeze, I've got Dominic Frisby coming on, and I think it's a complete different skill, but it's always guitars. So is it just the guitar you learned? Did you learn it for the purpose of doing musical bits? Have you always
Well,
had a
I
musical
don't
knack?
play guitar on stage. I play the ukulele, which is big distinction.
Technicality, sorry, but
But yeah, I don't. I was already playing the ukulele. I have tried guitar because I play a few instruments. I play ukulele, piano, guitar, and bass, and I'm learning the drums at the moment. But I've once tried playing guitar on stage, and it didn't go well, and I realized that I'm not good enough on guitar to play it on stage. So yeah, but I've got a few different ukuleles that I use. So yeah,
okay,
it's
so
fun.
you're quite musically gifted. Or have you ever been in like a band before or anything?
No, not really. I never really had people around me that have sort of musical. So I have recently, like Tony Edwards from the boys from the All Night Chemist. It's like we've done a few things together. So
Okay, and how do you find the comedy world in Birmingham? I've not been up there.
yeah, I think it's great. I think there's loads of really funny comedians, and it's very like communal. Everyone sort of knows each other, and like they'll recommend each other for gigs or give lifts and stuff. So yeah, it's great, and I think everyone just wants to sort of promote live comedy because we, I run a night with Rachel Page, and like the other night we were promoting Naf's new night, Halal Comedy or something like that. Um, so yeah, everyone sort of helps each other out, and it's really fun, and like they come and support each other. So yeah, I like it.
Is it hard or easy to get a gig up in Birmingham?
Uh, I think it's fairly easy. Um, I mean, like we're always looking for new acts, and I think it's one of those. It's who you know. Once you get in and you know someone, then and they know that you're like funny and reliable and stuff. Then you can ask for gigs.
Where would we say sort of we are at the moment? Are we still doing open mics? We're doing fives. We've gone on to tens. Have we gone on to paid work yet?
Yeah, mainly doing tens. I've done a couple of not paid, but where they gave me like splits in the bucket.
Right.
Um, and I've got 15 coming up at the Holly Bush in a few weeks. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it must be quite hard to do like say like a five for a musical act because that could literally be just one song, a little
Yeah.
introduction in one song. Like, how do you build up the crowd for the next one as such?
Yeah, well, when we did James's course, that was a 5 minute at the end. Like they did a showcase, and you had 5 minutes. So that I think I just played a few songs, but it was just like one verse, and at the end there was a punchline sort of thing.
Fair enough. And what was like, how did that end? How did your first gig go?
Went surprisingly well. I was quite nervous doing it, but yeah, I found once I got on stage and started doing it, it was fine, and people like the audience really laughed, and everyone said it was really good. So yeah.
What was the second gig like? Because everyone I speak to comes from doing cool. I've never done a class, never done a course. Uh, they always say, the first one's good because you're playing in front of, like a ridiculous amount of people. And then your second one is then the open mic bit where you're in front of four other people all being comedians.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this second one was at the infamous Hollybush,
Mhm.
um, but it actually went surprisingly well. Well, because it was like the first time I'd written a new routine, and I was trying to sort of figure out how to do it. So, because I had songs, I thought I could do a routine about becoming a busker, and like linking it. So, like, say you need to do this, blah blah blah, and then play a song, and then do that, which it didn't really work. But then the second half of it, I had the idea to do some uh, Elvis songs and like modernize them. So it was like The Wonder of YouTube, Love Me Tinder. So I was doing that, and then
Well, you got my mind working now. Okay. Uh, Teddy Bear. Can't think of anything. Oh, okay. You said always on YouTube.
you were
I,
always on
I,
your phone.
oh, just-
So I did that, and because after we did the course, a group of us got together and we used to meet up once a month and sort of go through our material. And so someone said, "Oh, you should dress up as Elvis," and like because I could do a half decent Elvis voice. So with that routine, what I did was then say like I need to get into character, turn around and do the like intro music, and then put the glasses on, take my jacket off, and add the Elvis shirt on. And that got like rapturous. They were so excited by that, and it just blew me away. And then I did like the Elvis stuff, and they were all joining in singing. And after everyone said they loved it, so it was kind of annoying because that was my second ever gig, and that bit of the routine was probably like the best thing I've ever written still, and like I'm never going to be able to top that. So
I was going to ask this question, fairly irrelevant, but I'm asking it. What other types of Elvises have you seen? So I've seen a normal Elvis. I've seen a black Elvis. I've seen a Korean Elvis, and I've seen a Portuguese Elvis.
nice. I've seen a bold Elvis.
Nope, not seen a bald Elvis. It's like a bingo calling card. I've never seen a bald Elvis.
Because I'm a graphic designer and one of our clients once was an Elvis impersonator. He was like a singergram, and
Okay.
his sort of party thing was at the end he'd sing "Did Love Me Tender" and then say, "Did you know Elvis was bald?" and he'd whip his wig off.
Yep.
So he's a lovely guy, but it was very funny.
Do you find doing musical comedy the more well known the song, the better the reception?
Yeah, I think so. Because early on, when we was like testing out material in this group, I played a few different songs, and because I, as you probably guessed, I quite like old music as well as old comedy. So I was playing like parodies of older songs, and like people didn't know the song, so it didn't get that much of a laugh.
How
And
old
they
are you? How old back are you talking? Are you
uh
banging out the green sleeves?
well no, like I did a parody of Paul Simon's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover called 50 Ways to Eat Your Lover.
I don't know.
Um,
I know "Call Me Out." Is that Paul
yeah,
Simon?
yeah.
Do 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 do. I know that. Okay. Who else?
A parody of Under the Boardwalk called
Drifters.
Under the Floorboards.
Drifters. I saw three. I met three of the two of the Drifters in Tenerife when I was 10 years old.
Oh, nice.
Well, but that's what my mum said. They might have been, like two random black guys, but or
Yeah.
a Drifters tribute act. But they did push it out as the original two of the original Drifters.
Oh, nice.
Uh, do you do any what's his name? Who did I have? Oh, Burst Party. Who's that? No, not them. Trying to think. What's this? Oh, you pissed me off. They begin with a B. Hollies. Oh, you know the Hollies.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, well, I've had the keyboardist at the Hollies. I've met him as well. That was
Oh,
sort of. So, what would you say? The a song you've done in 2.5 years where you look back and you think to yourself, "Why the fuck did I think that was funny?"
uh, oof, I don't know. Um, Let me just have a quick look at my.
I don't know. If I was a musical comedian, I think I would go for the most commercial songs going, like "Mr. Brightside" or "Summer of '69."
Yeah.
Like Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer." But I presume there's so many of them who do them songs.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
a bit,
oh, I did do a song uh when I did Shams a Man's Night. And I thought it'd be fun to play the first song that I ever wrote, um, which was called the Hitler song.
yep,
And
I'm
it
all ears.
basically started off, I love the fact that you're not Hitler, because if you were, I'd probably have to hit you. And then it was just like stupid things like that, saying, I love the fact that you're not fat, because if you were, you'd probably eat my cat.
Well, it rhymes. It rhymes. I can.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, one of my favourite musical comedians is Frank Sinatra.
I
You
think I've
seen him?
heard of him. I
He
think I've heard.
he's Frank Sinatra meets Hitler, and it is you've got to appreciate comedy for what comedy is. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like I'm on the theory, and I'll ask you that you can joke about anything, and if it offends somebody, it's their choice to be offended. Like you
yeah.
cannot police comedy.
Mm.
Anyway, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think to an extent, I mean, you have got to be careful these days, but I think if, because I think back in the day, it was understood that like if you made a joke about fat people, you weren't referring to like people who have medical issues who
Yeah,
have fat, you're referring to people who were sort of lazy and like
yeah.
didn't eat, like ate loads and that's why they were fat. And like with impressions as well and voices, like doing foreign accents, like doing like a Chinese accent or an African accent. And nowadays you can't do that, but you can do like a Scouse accent or a Scottish accent. And it's like, but it's just you're not like mocking the person, you're just copying the voice, maybe and exaggerating it a little bit so that people know what it is. So
It might be because back in the day, if we did say, or not, I said when you talk about the further back generations, if they did an Asian accent or a black, a Jamaican accent, that they were more alien to us at the time because there wasn't as much diversity.
yeah, I think so.
I stay away from accents purely for the fact that I cannot do them to save my life. Like I try and do, but I always find like with accents, you've got to have that word that you start off with. Like
Mm.
Liverpool is like can of cork and a packet of cliffs that get you on the accent. But I suppose every accent I do always ends up going back to Indian.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have you ever tried to do accents on stage?
Well, I've done like the Elvis voice. That one's fairly safe.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I've done the odd, but obviously like UK based accents. But
Right.
yeah, I wouldn't venture anything outside of that.
Yeah. Like I said, we said like you can joke about anything, but the whole point of it also is just to not punch down.
Hmm.
Like I said, because yeah, I was spoke to many comedians, and like I said, speaking to I think Karen Bucknell.
Yeah, I think.
She's a Brummie. Yeah, she had colon cancer, didn't she? And she said like the best comedic place she ever found was on the cancer ward.
Hmm.
And that's when the most like darkest jokes seem to have
Yeah.
blown and stuff. So I think yeah, I wholeheartedly agree on that. So what time would you say has been your favourite moment on stage, and what time have you bombed the hardest?
Favorite moment on stage, I'd say recently I did Comedy Junction at the
Yep.
station in Sutton, and that was like the biggest audience I'd done. That was about 60 people,
Yeah. Cool.
and that was just brilliant. Like every joke I did got a laugh, and like people afterwards were coming up saying really nice comments. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was buzzing after that.
It,
Uh,
it, it's actually one better than that because Monday night had 318 people. No, 378 people watched it now.
oh, cool.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
technicality, and I'm just throwing it out there to fluff my own ego. It's no longer the biggest. Might have been online, but I was. What difference did you find it? Because like me, we didn't do comedy in lockdown. All right, I'll pause that. I'll go back to first. What's the worst moment you've had?
Worst, there's two gigs that went awfully. The first was at the Dark Horse in Moseley, and the Eric Rushton who usually runs it wasn't there, so someone else was running it. So I don't know whether that affected it, but they had like a small audience and they'd all come for the comedy, but they weren't laughing at anything. And like they had people like Dom Bant and Hannah Wheatman and Damon Conman, who are all like experienced and really funny people, and they weren't getting anything either. So like, and then to have to go up and do that was painful. And I think the only like laugh I got was when I tripped over the wire. So
I mean, a dead room's a dead room.
yeah,
Some like you look at the subtitle, like like saying when you've got a good lineup and no one's laughing, it can just I, I think there is a science, there is a massive science to it that I haven't learned yet myself about the perfection of running a comedy night. And there
yeah,
is a science to it to make it flow. And if it doesn't work, if one person, if everyone else killed it and you went up and sucked ass, you'd say, okay, that's on
yeah,
me.
mm,
But if
mm,
every person bombs, then it's like, well,
yeah.
you know, it is what it is. So my question was, how did you find doing comedy on Monday with no audience?
Yeah, it was very strange because I'm used to like getting the laugh and then you ride that and go on to the next bit or you use it. So like, and the only time you don't get laughter is when it doesn't work. So then instantly your mind going, oh, that didn't get a laugh, that wasn't funny, and then you have to move on. So yeah, but the weird thing was my Zoom didn't work properly, so I was tiny at the top of the screen, and then I just saw you sitting there smoking and chuckling to yourself. So it was just like I was just playing to you, like, and I kind of forgot about everyone else. So.
Look me into my soulless eyes. I was just playing. So you was on the big screen, I do promise you. But I think
Yeah,
what you guys see is completely different. But
yeah,
I don't care what you guys see almost because it's what the people see to a
yeah,
point. But
yeah,
yeah, it must be hard because when you can't rely on crowd work, you don't know if it's going bad, good or bad until it's too late.
yeah.
Almost, it must.
But
Yeah,
I think it's like you said earlier about do I write stuff to entertain myself or for an audience?
yeah.
And now I do kind of largely write it things that I think would be fun to do and like that I find funny. So like then once I got into it, I was just like, well, I've got 5 minutes of comedy. I'm just gonna have fun and do it. And that's what I do on stage now is just go, I've got 10 minutes of comedy, I'm gonna go and have some fun. If they laugh, great. If not, then I've had fun and I just don't do that stuff again.
I think I think that is the best mentality to have on it because yes, there's people who and I presume as well, you'd like to one day make a career out of comedy, or do you do it solely for the fun? Before I go into that question,
Yeah, not so much like a career, but like for the fun, I'd like to sort of carry on doing it in like bigger gigs and that, but I wouldn't want to end up on TV or like making my sole living or anything.
because what I noticed, and I'll speak for myself here, not anyone else. When I started, because I do fine with the podcast. When I started doing comedy, I wanted to, make a living out of it, become a household name, and I was stressing over every minor detail, and I was sucking ass on stage. The second I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go up and have fun,
Yeah,
is when I started to do better.
but definitely like when I first started out the first year gigs, I wrote it and then memorized because I play the ukulele, I can't have notes on stage, so I had to memorize it. So I memorized it word for word and repeat it word for word. And then I did a course with a workshop with Tom Short, and he said like don't do that, just have bullet points, and it's so much easier when you do that because it's just like you're not tied to a script and you can have fun with it, like you said.
I challenge. I am a word for word writer. That's how I memorize it, and then I will
Hmm.
chop and change it in the moment. But I'm a very one like I like to have it absolutely word for word. But how would that work with musical comedy? Surely the lyrics are the lyrics.
Oh yeah, the lyrics stay the same. Or if, cause like if I think one song's not going to work, like if I've got a song where the audience joins in, but they're not a very joining in audience, then I can swap it at the last minute and do another song.
What would you do? Say let's just do. I don't know. Everyone does Mr. Brightside, and you're like, okay, everyone sing the chorus, and no one sings.
Yeah.
What do you do? Just carry on, or just call them all
Yeah.
pricks? I told you to fucking sing.
But it has happened before, and I just say something like, "We'll keep going until you join in," or like, or just stop and sort of make a joke of it and sort of call them out on it and then just get them to join in. I think if you do it in a fun way, then they're more likely to join in. I think if you insult them and say, then they're not going to enjoy it. So
Your sort of stuff in between your songs, is it sort of, like one liner stuff, like quick hitted, or would you like do stories in between?
it tends to be more like one-liners and stuff with props. I do want to do more stories because I keep seeing other comedians doing stories and I think, oh, I want to do more stories. But yeah, I don't know, at the moment I'm kind of struggling with writing stuff like that. So I just do like one-liners and props and silly stuff.
And is there any sort of comedy style out there you detest?
Well, I'm not really keen on like insult humor and people
Right?
who do like really dark or like talk about taboo things. I think mine's very clean and like I said, like the old comedians, they were all very clean and innocent, and anything rude was just like suggestive. So I kind of keep like that.
Yeah,
And I think it's just more fun, like joking about stuff like that rather than like serious stuff or dark stuff.
family friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
My stuff, I wouldn't call it dark. I mean, I've interviewed some great dark comedians, and I must be honest, dark comedy is my favorite type of comedy. I have a guilty pleasure for one-liners, but I would never write one line to myself. But it's a guilty
Mm.
pleasure for it. My type of comedy is it looks like I'm about to offend, but then I don't.
Yeah.
So I've got this great bit, and I'm gonna start doing it more and more. I've got this great bit, and I do it at the end of the set, and every time I've done it so far, it's gone really well. And it starts off with, I'm against gay marriage. That's the everyone instantly hates you. Love it, love it. And then I'll speak for it real quick. It goes along the lines of when a man and woman get married, a woman's workload increases by 6 hours, a man's decreases by an hour. So that's why gay people look fantastic. They've got all the extra time on their hands. This
Yeah.
bullshit. That's why they would go all the extra time to go gym, get their hair done. That's why they've all got their shit together. If I sucked enough dick, I might be able to get myself a girlfriend. That's like, but it looks like you're going to hit hard, hurt, like be rude,
Yeah.
but you're
Well, so
not.
I like that sort of stuff where it's like stuff like that, but it's clever and it's cleverly done and there's a point to it. But I think people who just like call people the C words just to get a shock laugh, or like people who talk about like dark stuff and it's not clever, it's just dark or
Well,
insulting.
as I was say, like Frankie Boyle, for example,
Mm.
I'm not a fan. Okay, you said side comedy you don't like. I hate metaphorical comedy.
Okay, what do
Hate
you
it.
mean?
It's like her ass looks like a hippo's mouth yawning.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Crap like that. I do not find it in this because it's basically how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, and you are being offensive for the sake of being offensive. I don't find metaphorical comedy funny
No.
in the slightest. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there. I think comedy is subjective. You're not going to win everyone, but that's just one that doesn't win for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
So being on stage then and doing it for 2.5 years, what's the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage?
Uh I yeah, I won't name them because that's not very kind, but because we run a night and we had someone on once and they were doing poetry,
Right.
but it wasn't. I think they thought it was funny and it wasn't. And we said to them 10 minutes and they were still going. By 12 minutes, we flashed them. They ended up doing like 16 minutes and not getting any laughs and just like kept doing it. And
Oh,
I was like, just stop. And like we've had people like that where then they don't get anything in you. Kind of feel bad for them. Hang on, I've just got to run. Someone's at the door.
so, I mean, I'll try and sing. Yes, if I was to do musical comedy, I'd do Summer '69. I bought my first G string. It was only a dime. I bent over to show my wife. She said I'm no longer in my prime. Oh, bang! I can do musical comedy. You know, when you watch this back, don't steal that. That's my comedy gold. So when this person came off stage, did they think they'd killed it, or was it like were they self-aware enough to realize that they'd sucked?
Uh, yeah, I think they thought they'd done well.
It,
There's a few that we've had that have kind of bombed, but they thought they'd done well. And it's hard then because you have to say something to them, and like usually you'd say, "Oh, that was great, I really enjoyed it." And I don't want to be mean, but I also don't want to lie to them. So
yeah.
you just go,
So
like, "Oh, well done," and then don't book them again.
would you be yeah? So would you be like, mate, you're fucking shit, or would you try and give critical advice? I mean, the one I'd get most pissed off would be like, mate, you was on for a 10. Why the fuck you still on a 16? Like that bit would piss me off.
Yeah. I don't, well, luckily back then there were four of us running the night and I was like the camera guy and filming it, so I didn't have to say anything. But yeah, I think they did have words with him and just said like next time keep it to 10. But
And so, what would you? How would this person? They've gone on. Now, let me rephrase that. Let's say hypothetically, me and you are on a bill together, and I'm on before you, and I am the biggest prick in the world. I do every single racist, homophobic joke in the world, and not in a good way.
mm,
Not in a, I mean, not in a creative way. There was no wit to it. I was just a
mm.
prick, and I got booed off stage. How would you try and win the room back?
Well, to be fair, I think because my comedies and my style is so different and it's like light and fun, I think that would, because it has happened before. I've gone on and people who weren't that great and they were doing kind of offensive stuff, and then I've gone on after and it's like lifted the room a bit. So I don't really tend to acknowledge it. I wouldn't, or I'd just say like, and now for something completely different, and then go on. But yeah,
Okay, what would your thoughts be then on you then mugging the previous act off if they was a bellend?
no, that's
No?
not my style. I wouldn't. I try to be nice to everyone and be friendly and just think those thoughts.
Fair enough. I mean, I've always been nice to people, but I'm now sort of changing my tone a little bit. I want to become more of an asshole, and it's hard when you're naturally a nice person,
Yeah.
like to become a dick all of a sudden.
Well,
How would you?
when we did the gong show and in your email it said if you get through to the final, then it's 1 minute of heckling the MC.
Yes.
And I was like, I've got no idea what I'm gonna do because I can't do that.
Well,
But
the reason I put that in there because the way we're sort of changing it up for next week is that if someone fouls, and I think they're only going to get 3 minutes this time, not five, because we've had 37 people apply for it. We're going to say what we're going to talk to you after, and we might be rude, but we want you to be rude back.
hmm,
So yeah, I want because it is entertainment at the end of the day, and
yeah.
I love it when people roast me. Absolutely love it. So yeah, if it was at a roast battle now, how would you insult me?
I don't know. I think because what I had planned in my head is because I've got a song called I Kinda Hate You, which I wrote about a former colleague. Um, so I was just gonna play a few verses of that and pretend it was directed at you as like
Okay.
a last minute resort. But yeah.
But I love that. Oh, I should have fucking changed it up. Oh, that's so. Yeah, when you do your musical comedy, do you think of the lyrics first, or is it the song first? And how do you pick your songs? Are they just songs you like yourself?
Yeah, it's usually the lyrics. Like I have an idea what I want to write about. Um, Sometimes I do come up with the music first, and then that's always harder because then I struggle to think about like what lyrics go with it. But yeah, it's usually lyrics first. If it's something I've heard or just like a sort of like you would with a joke, like all this is something I could make some observations about and then just put it into song and make it rhyme. Um, so yeah, it's just that sort of thing.
Fair enough. And you said you got your first 15. You're doing tens. Would you say you're ready yourself yet to move on to say like closing spots, 20 minutes, 30-minute spots?
Yeah, I could definitely do it. I've got enough material and I'd like to, but at the same time, I sort of know my place and I don't want to go around saying I can do like, can I have a 30-minute spot when because I've done about 25 gigs and I know there's other comedians who've been doing it for less than me, who've done like hundreds of gigs. So
Yeah. So I think it's the other way around. Like I've spoken to people, they've done like 200 gigs. They're still doing 5 minute spots. Everyone
mm,
moves at their own different pace. So I think sort of, and if you say you are ready, how would you go about getting them spots?
uh, I don't know really. I just look if anyone's advertising for 20 minutes, but I'd apply and say I've done like 10 minutes and 15. Um, yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, fair enough. I've sort of done it the other way around now. Like I've seen, do 20 minutes spots and I've applied to them. And I've just wrote back saying, if I do not hear back from you, I will never apply for your place again. Because I mean, I used to work in recruitment and I'd do a job out and I'd get hundreds of applicants. I
Mm.
would always respond to everyone.
Well, no,
There's automated things you can do.
what you should say to him rather than saying that is, if I don't hear back, I'll assume I've got the gig, and then just turn up and do it anyway.
And yeah, send your bank details. I require payment in advance.
Yeah.
Just get my invoice either way, bitch. That's actually quite funny, yeah, to be honest. But I do. That is one thing since being in this industry that's really pissed me off when people don't respond
Yeah.
because there's if they ever need to, I could do a 5 minute crash course on how you can email every single person at once the same message.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
the simple etiquette, and I think I get annoyed when they're putting their ego on a pedestal because they're
mm,
getting applications. Be a nice guy. Don't be a prick. Let people know.
yeah. Well, what we do is we've got a Google form that people fill in, and then it puts their details on a spreadsheet. So anyone who messages, we just say we do it through this. If you do that, and then at some point we'll get to you and let you know. So
100%. Yeah. Like I say, with the Gong Show I run, I've got an Excel sheet at the moment, and you do that. Microsoft Word, select mailings, recipients, send them all the same message, and
mm,
just one, it saves time, and two, it just makes you look like a nice human being. I've
yeah.
I don't know why, but I've felt that a lot of promoters have an ego about them,
Mm,
and yeah, I think everyone's still human at the end of the day. So,
yeah.
okay, I always like asking this question: if somebody was looking to get into comedy, they've never done it before, what sort of advice would you give them about it and how to prepare for the stage?
Uh, I think do like finding a good network, like either doing a course or speaking to other comedians is always helpful because I don't think I would have like done as well as I have without the course and like having the groups and stuff. Um, I think yeah, just immerse yourself in comedy, go to as many gigs as you can, and open mic nights, be inspired by people, and just find your act, find your unique thing, and don't try and copy people too much. Let it inspire you, but don't sort of try and copy that person. Just find what makes you unique, and
Find
then
you're
that'll be
funny.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, the advice I'm giving people now is don't bother doing it. The market's saturated enough. We don't need anyone new in. But I mean, if someone's good now, they will get to a certain level. So, are we doing Birmingham at the moment? Where else are we performing, or is it mostly local?
Yeah, it's mainly local, like in and around Birmingham. Um, Going back to what you said about people not responding, I have got a gig that's out of town because I'm planning to go to Comic Con in a few months, and I'll be there for a few days. So I thought I'll try and get a gig. So I've emailed a few weeks ago and they haven't responded. So I'm like I kind of need to know because I need to book the hotel and stuff. But so hopefully I'll get there. But I'm not really because I don't drive. I'm not really sort of interested in going all around the country to do stuff. I'm
Yeah.
quite be just doing it in Birmingham.
Okay. Comic Con. Who are we going as?
The 11th Doctor from Doctor Who.
Nope, never seen Doctor Who. Never seen it. I'm more of like a what is it? Sword Art Online, Attack on Titan.
Mhm.
That's sort of stuff I bang out. Right. Yeah. None of that. Yeah, Ben. Cheers for coming on, mate. Really appreciate this, and yeah, best of luck in Birmingham. And yeah, I will be traveling the country next year. And if I get up to Birmingham, I'll make sure I'll come along and see you.
Cool. There we go. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been
No
fun.
worries. I appreciate it. Best of luck, Ben, man.
You too.
Have a good one, dude. Bye.
Yeah.